Welcome to the Milk Bottle Labs Shopify e-commerce podcast, brought to you by Milk Bottle Labs, officially Ireland's top-rated Shopify experts. Milk Bottle Labs are loved by Shopify store owners around the world and host the fastest-growing Shopify meetup quarterly in Ireland's capital, Dublin. This podcast is supported by Rare.io. Rare helps Shopify store owners increase your sales with smart and personalised email marketing. Thanks for listening. Now over to your host, Keith Matthews.
Hey folks, welcome to episode 2 of the Milk Bottle Labs Shopify e-commerce podcast, recording from the banks of the River Liffey in Dublin. This week I'm delighted to be joined by a dear friend, Bjorn of Forsberg, based in Copenhagen in Denmark. Bjorn is the founder of FORSBERG+2 and has developed apps for Shopify merchants which solve very simple problems, and they're very popular too. They are installed in over 25,000 Shopify stores worldwide. Bjorn was very good to join us in Dublin in 2016, and he spoke at one of our first Shopify meetups. So it's great to have him on episode 2 of the Milk Bottle Labs Shopify e-commerce podcast. Bjorn, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Keith. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Where are you today, Bjorn? Are you in the office or are you at home?
I'm in the office, yeah. It's Friday afternoon, so I'm just getting ready to call it a week.
Good. Have you recovered? I believe you gave an excellent masterclass in Berlin at Shopify Pursuit. Did you recover okay?
Yeah, it took a lot of energy to run a 4-hour workshop, but it was an absolutely amazing experience. And, you know, it was really nice to see that people enjoyed it and either they were inspired or they got some useful info out of it. So it was a lot of fun. That's good.
Bjorn, look, it's great to have you. We're probably regarded as the old guys within the Shopify community. I think we know each other quite a while.
Yeah, and we've had the pleasure of meeting all over the world, actually.
It's a funny Shopify ecosystem, isn't it? You become so friendly and so conjoined with people, even though they're living all over the world. It's amazing.
And I think it's also really nice to speak with people that know what I'm doing and have similar interests and worldviews, I guess. Definitely.
Your apps are absolutely, as the Americans would say, they're super successful. So just give us people are always intrigued with us, in terms of the size of the team, what sort of work we do. You have a very, very interesting structure. So just give the listeners an insight into who FORSBERG+2 is and where the name came from.
Yeah, sure. So, well, thank you, firstly. But FORSBERG+2, a lot of people think that it means that there's more of us. But there's actually just me. And the +2 is originally for my wife and my daughter when I just started the company. And then we've had a little boy as well. So it really should be +3. But it's very much a little family business, I guess you could say. Where, my wife helps out now on the social media and things like that. And then everything else, I guess I do.
Good.
I started using a little bit of freelancers and stuff like that, but that's sort of for smaller things.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had Mike Potter from Rewind on, and Mike spoke at our meetup in May. And one of the points that Mike made was that some developers are finding it increasingly difficult to manage on their own with the amount of marketing that's involved and customer support. So you're coping with that. You've got systems in place to manage that, have you?
I do. I get some help with the advertising for my business. And I've also got a guy that helps out with like email flows and copywriting and stuff like that. But I still do all the support myself and the coding and stuff like that. But it's definitely, I'd say 4 apps is sort of the max one guy can handle. So I'm starting to look at either making my support a lot more efficient using different tools, or looking to get somebody in a first line support kind of level. Because I'm getting less and less time, I guess you could do to focus on the new developments and driving the business forward. I love doing customer support, something I've done in the past as well. But at some point, I guess it makes sense to start looking to get some help.
Yeah, does that kind of structure, does it force you to become more efficient and create apps that, with less bugs or with less long lists of FAQs?
Absolutely, yeah.
Does it?
Just creating lots of help articles is definitely helpful, both for customers, of course, but also for myself. And then just, trying to be really efficient about how to do things. Lots of saved replies, but where it still gets a personal sort of touch to it. And then having a really structured approach to it. So do, support every morning. First thing I do when I get in to get it out of to make sure that it's done every day. And it also makes me a little less stressed, I guess, the rest of the day. So knowing that I've got the main thing done, and then I can move on with everything else.
But on a Monday morning when you wake up, though, do you have a backlog of support queries?
Yeah, the weekend's not too bad, but I'd say like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are the heavy days as far as support goes. But yeah, I'd say there's maybe 40 messages a day coming either via the chat, via like a message system or through email.
Yeah.
So it's plenty of work. It takes a couple of hours, I guess, every day now.
Yeah, I could imagine it does. And well, you're doing something right, because you're one of the highest ranked positive. You've got one of the highest ranked positive ratings across all of your apps. So Bjorn, just give us a rundown. So you know, at the moment you're pushing 4 apps: the Orderly Emails app, Orderly Print, the Orderly Order Printer Templates, and then the Order Printer Emailer. Just give us a rundown on what the 4 of those do. And
Sure.
When we spoke before, I remember you told us about you switched from, I think you moved one of them to a free plan, and you also switched one of them, I think, to a fixed price rather than a subscription. So I'd love to hear about the structure of the pricing after you go through them as well. Okay,
sure. Yeah, no problem. So I guess my first app and my oldest app is Orderly Print, which is it helps sort of high volume Shopify stores to be more efficient in picking, packing, and fulfilling their orders. So it lets them, print picking lists, packing slips, invoices, and then to fulfill and send the tracking information to customers. The key component is that it lets you work with, 250 orders at a time instead of the smaller batches. So it really helps a lot of people become, more efficient. And that's on a recurring monthly sort of pricing. It's $49 a month, but that's with unlimited use. So no matter how many orders you've got to process, it's the same price every time. And that's, I guess, that's more aimed towards sort of power users, I guess you could say. Then you've got Order Printer Templates, which is a design tool. Shopify has a free app called Order Printer, which lets you sort of print off documents for your orders. To be able to customize those and make them branded and contain all the information you need in Shopify, you need to know how to code. So Order Printer Templates removes that need and lets you pick from some really nice designs and then customize them using simple controls instead of touching any code yourself. And that one is a one-time purchase. I think it's also the right way to go as far as pricing goes on that one, because people come in, they design it, and then they might not use the app again, or they can come back in and update their design. But it's not a tool that they're using daily. So it just felt like the right thing to do to make it a one-time purchase. It's $29 for a template, and then any additional templates you purchase get a 50% off.
So there is
whatever you need. Yeah.
So there is an opportunity for you to make a little bit of revenue on top of the once-off fee. Then is there?
There is, yeah. So they can, maybe they want additional templates or something like that, or of course they might discover one of my other apps as well.
Yeah.
Which it lets me sort of capture, I guess, a bit more value up front, but also making, how would you say, it converts really well, and a lot of merchants get benefit out of it. And I think more people use the app simply because it is a one-time purchase and you're adding additional cost, right? Installing apps can sometimes add up quite a bit over the month. So it seems like it's been a very popular thing to do the one-time pricing, and it works well for me.
That's good. Yeah, just one issue I think which has affected a good few app developers over the last 12 months is the changes that Shopify are making to the App Store, but also Shopify are pushing out extra functionality, especially across Plus, which is being delivered to merchants now at the moment through apps. So just give us some detail. You mentioned there that Shopify effectively released your equivalent for free. How did that affect the take-up after that?
Yeah, for Orderly Print, it was a scary moment. Shopify comes out with Order Printer, which is free. I guess it did two things. One was, if you can't beat them, join them. So I built Order Printer templates to sort of provide all these thousands of merchants with a design solution. But also with Orderly Print, it also made me focus more on the higher volume stores where Order Printer just isn't enough. But it was definitely a pretty harsh reality when you see that something's becoming obsolete, right? But I think it just made me focus and made me more creative in where I could take these apps and a little bit more focused, I guess. Yeah,
that's the interesting one. When we were at Unite this year, we were sitting beside some developers, and when Shopify had announced the new marketing APIs and some changes to the platform, they told us that they had 3 apps in the pipeline that were instantly wiped. But I guess...
I think the reality is generally when Shopify releases something, going to Unite is always this exciting and scary moment, right? Because you want to see what's coming out, but you're always a bit worried if it's going to affect you. Yeah. But, I think Shopify releases products that are aimed to cover the core use case, I guess. So generally, there's always going to be room for a more advanced power user style app anyway. So what I've generally seen is, it's scary when you see them releasing something that you're also doing, but in a sense, it doesn't kill it completely because you're always going to, have additional features and more advanced stuff than what Shopify is offering in their core.
Yeah, it's interesting the way you mentioned that waiting for Shopify's announcements is both scary and exciting from a kind of from our point of view, as an agency building Shopify stores, as a Shopify expert, we're completely shielded from the scary side, and it's only ever exciting, which is one of the
that's a nice little position to be in, I think.
Yeah, I think the ideal agency is building stores and also running successful apps, I suppose. But
and you see more and more people doing that actually.
Yeah, there is.
Dabbling in both sides. So I think agencies also have a sort of a unique perspective on merchant needs that maybe an app developer coming in without running an agency doesn't see, right?
Yeah, I think also a lot of agencies will build one-off apps for let's say for Plus customers, and then they'll realize in actual fact that they can actually package them and sell them. So
definitely.
Sometimes the answer to the app, is sometimes already created, and sometimes the answer is in front of the developer's face in the case of an agency environment.
Definitely.
I've talked recently to a good few agencies in Toronto, and a lot of them are looking at that. And I suppose it's a reflection on Shopify's success. I mean, the App Store has been, it has allowed and made a good living for a lot of app developers. So there's no reason why if you were set up properly that you could do it as well. So
absolutely. And I think it's just growing all the time, right? So, some people might say it's, a saturated market, but I don't think so. There's still lots of opportunity there.
Yeah. Bjorn, Shopify, this year released the marketing API, and is it correct to say that you were one of the chosen developers to integrate into that before it was released?
I got into the beta of it at least. Yeah.
Can you run us through kind of what addition or what value that adds to your apps and for app developers?
Definitely. So I'll just intro the app that I used it in. I guess Orderly Emails, which is similar to the print template app that I have, but in that, it's a design tool, but this one's for all the Shopify email notifications. So, Shopify sends order confirmations, shipping confirmation, abandoned cart emails. There's 18 different emails that Shopify sends. And again, you need to be able to code or hire somebody to customize these for you. And so Orderly Emails goes in and is basically a theme editor for all of these emails. So you pick a design, you can customize it in the same way you'd customize sort of your website. And then you again purchase it for a one-time fee. And I could see with the marketing events API, with email tracking is usually something that you do only in marketing emails. But these notification or transactional emails being sent to customers are also a great opportunity to sort of optimize and upsell or get repeat business from the customers that are already buying from you, which is generally good people to be able to market to. But before you weren't able to actually see, how many people are clicking in these emails, how many are opening them, can I optimize them in any way? And the marketing events API, it lets us tell Shopify that, there's going to be traffic coming from these emails, visitors clicking in the emails, landing on the website and maybe making a purchase or browsing around. And the marketing events API lets us to tell Shopify that this is going to happen and how to collect that data. So then they're able to actually show you in the standard sort of Shopify analytics and reports what kind of traffic and sales are coming from your emails. Then it splits it up into, which email were they in, which element did they click on. Yeah, and if it results in an order, you can actually see it on the order page as well, where it sort of attributes it back to saying, hey, well, this app helped generate this amount of sales. So it's a lot easier for merchants to sort of, optimize these offerings that they're doing. Maybe they're putting, discount code in or some recommended products or something like that. Yeah, and the marketing events API is just really a great tool to be able to push this information into Shopify without having to build it yourself in the app. They have these great, graphing and reporting capabilities. So this allows us to leverage that without having to run the infrastructure and do all the aggregation ourselves.
Interesting. And then does that allow you then to provide analytics to the customer, or are they getting all their analytics through Shopify's dashboard?
Yeah, so they get it all through the Shopify dashboard. We do keep a small amount of, anonymous, just tallies. So saying on this day we had this many clicks and this many opens of this particular email. So you can see that in my app. But if you want to actually see the traffic and everything else, you do that through the Shopify admin.
And is that, so at the moment on the right-hand corner, you can see primarily it was MailChimp, but you can see the performance of your marketing campaigns. Is it in that report section, or is it new?
Yeah, exactly.
No, same place.
Yeah. So you can see traffic attributed to a marketing campaign, or you can see sales attributed to a marketing campaign. So they're the marketing campaign reports, I guess you can see that you'll see all this data in.
Okay.
And so you'll see the campaign as the email, for example, order confirmation or abandoned cart, and then you can drill down further to sort of see which elements that they're using. And the other cool thing is that this data gets then pushed by Shopify or, further on from there into Google Analytics as well. So if you're more used to using that, it actually shows up in there as well without having to do anything extra.
So in Google Analytics, then I can see the conversion results which have been pushed as a result of your app. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can see if they've clicked a link in one of the emails. Yeah, and if that resulted in a sale and how much and everything else, yeah.
Does that then allow you to work out yourself what the resulting sales are from all of your orderly email customers, or is it only available to people that are using the marketing?
It's only one way. So
it's only one way.
Push data to Shopify and I can't get anything out. So I think it's a nice, I don't want that data.
Yeah.
I don't think that's mine to have. It's only available to the merchant and of course Shopify are aggregating that.
Yeah, interesting. So just to segue slightly into the marketing side, I've had a number of conversations with app developers over the last while, and they're one of the challenges they have is obviously a lot of them are small teams, and one of the biggest challenges they have is support, as we discussed earlier on, but then marketing. So if there was one piece of advice to give an app developer that was thinking of doing exactly what you've done, a small operation, very efficiently run, solving very simple problems. It's a crowded marketplace now. So in terms of getting started and also then growing, what sort of advice would you give somebody?
Well, I think the first one is to just give great support. I think support is the best marketing you can do in that it results in, reviews, which then results in you being ranked higher in the App Store. I think Rianne from Ventov, who do another app, she said it really well. She said, focus on making great product, be kind, and everything else is noise, right? So that, the main thing is to have a great product, obviously, but then to give great support. And then after that, you can start thinking about maybe paid acquisition and things like that. But I've found that the paid advertising and marketing that I've done is a lot less effective than just, making sure that people are happy with the product that they're using and they're going to tell either their friends or other people using the reviews. There's also a lot you can do around, copywriting. I found that has a huge effect on how well an app does, whether you're using the right keywords and things like that, but also just in explaining your product really well and concisely, so that people understand what it actually does.
So did you hire a professional for that, or did you just?
I did, yeah.
You did?
Yeah. So originally I did it all myself, and I'd write out the description, I guess you could say, in my words, and then I get a professional to come in and edit my description to make it clearer and more concise. I think it's important though, if you're finding a copywriter, not just to find an editor, but find somebody that has some sales experience as well, because obviously it needs to be said in a way that actually entices people to sign up as well.
Yeah, and the voice and tone has to match your own goals and your own brand, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think getting started is probably the hardest part because you don't have an audience. Now I've got multiple apps, so if I release a new app, I've got a large audience that I can sort of tell about it right away. But I think getting started, just focus on creating a simple as possible product, and then just making sure you give really good support.
Yeah, that's good advice.
And to help seed it a bit as well, a really good thing has always been to sort of, put a big notice on your app description and in the forums and stuff saying, hey, I'm looking just for beta testers. And if you want to try out the app and give some feedback, you'll get it for, half price or, a free trial for 6 months or something, like a really good deal for people to get started with it. Because I think in the beginning, feedback is worth a lot more than just money. So the more people you can get on and the more feedback you can get early, the better traction you're going to have. Very good.
And have you had good take up when you've offered that?
Yeah, it's been, I've done it on all my apps because I realized on the first couple that it really had a good effect. I think it also, with a new product, the worst thing you want is for somebody to run into something that's not, working 100% and leaving a bad review or something like that. So being really upfront about it being a new product and you're looking for beta testers also ensures that people that are signing up know what they're, that it is a brand new app. And you may not have caught, you might have caught 99%, but there might be 1% that's, you just couldn't design for because there's so many different types of stores and the way they're set up and so forth.
Yeah. So the request for feedback then kind of helps you to answer questions that you never even knew existed.
Yeah, exactly. And not leaving a bad taste in people's mouths because they think that this is a fully polished product, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. Bjorn, when did you enter the App Store originally?
Oh, it's way back in 2011. So it's a long time ago now.
A long time ago. So So you would have been well used to the old App Store. So another conversations that we've had with other app developers, in the last 6 months is obviously the new Shopify App Store was released and it's a fantastic improvement on the original platform. But of course, effectively for you as an app developer, it's kind of like it's a Google search engine and the algorithms were changed. So when it was released, did you have any immediate effect, either positive or negative, in terms of results and downloads?
Yeah, definitely. So it was actually positive in my case, which is really nice to see. Obviously, I was very, very worried when they launched it, whether this would sort of, especially with the one-time apps, they require a higher volume of users, of course, to be signing up and paying for these apps one time, right? Whereas a recurring app is more of a sort of rolling snowball, I guess you'd say. But yeah, so they released it and then, it took a really steep positive effect to begin with. And I think that was because obviously they were pushing out saying, hey, we've got a brand new app store, and everyone was in there taking a look and signing up for new apps and stuff like that. But then about a week later when the dust had settled, I'd say there's still about a 20% increase in traffic or conversions at least, which is really nice to see. And I think it just looks better, looks more professional. It's easy to find what you need. I think the important part for an app is to be in the right category. And luckily, I felt that my apps have been in the correct categories. And then Shopify also came out with a great article how you could sort of enhance or optimize your listing to make sure that it is showing up in the correct searches and stuff like that. And making a few tweaks just made sure that it was, if you type in invoice or something like that, you're going to find my app because it is sort of the best solution for that particular problem.
Yeah, I mean, I got the impression, Bjorn, all along the way that they were, they gave everybody plenty of notice and plenty of resources and, education to help as many people as possible.
Definitely. Yeah, the only thing they didn't give us was a date, right? We've been working on these listings for over 6 months, I'd say. And they sort of locked them down at some point and said, right, this is what we're rolling out with. And then they've obviously been testing and optimizing on their side. So when they did release it, there was no issues or anything like that. We didn't have tracking just the first day, and then that came on and we were all happy. I think it was a good way to do it. You need to rip the Band-Aid off at some point, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it was there a long time, so people have become very familiar with it. But I think in hindsight, looking at the old one now, it certainly was dated, but look, it worked and it was functional. Yeah. To me, from the outside looking in, I mean, we have we've a 10 or 15 core apps that we would install on any store. And recently a number of your apps are part of that core. But recently we spoke to Mike Potter of Rewind, and he has a kind of a niche app where he gives the facility for you to back up your store and turn back the clock if you make any changes on a theme. And that's niche, and obviously niche is the way to go. Your apps kind of cross over between operational efficiency and marketing, Okay.
Yeah.
So like, is the marketing end of the Shopify App Store, is that a crowded space? Because to me, it seems like there's a lot of apps doing the same thing.
Yeah, there is, I guess. I'd say that marketing is probably the most crowded section in the App Store, but I think it's also the most trafficked or used, because obviously if you can install an app and increase your sales on your store, then you're going to use it, right? Where, I always like to think about apps as either a vitamin or a painkiller. So either it gives you superpowers or it's solving some, hurt that you're seeing. And if I could, I would always choose the vitamins, because they're easier to sort of sell and get people excited about. But the painkillers seem to be, they've got to prove their worth, but once they have, they're going to stick around. So I'd say marketing is definitely the most crowded area, but I can understand why.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're creating an app that you can straight away attribute sales to, obviously, as you say, it's going to be the one that people download.
Yeah, and then it's just all about discoverability and making sure that you get it, in front of people.
Yeah. Is there? Have you noticed any trends in the App Store? Is there a particular area that's growing, or I guess I've seen quite a few of these sort of, spin a deal, or they're kind of interactive in a sense for the end customer. And they seem to be doing very well. It's outside of my wheelhouse, I guess you could say, but I guess it surprised me, because I remember chatting to one of the guys that was building, I think, the first one. And, I was like, I can't see the benefit in that one. And obviously I just completely missed it, right? And it just took off and did really, really well. So I'm really happy for him. Yeah, it's one of those categories where I just didn't understand it. But it collects emails and it generates sales. So I think that's the main part. That's the main part. Yeah, it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, because a lot of stores that we build, we try and keep the front end as clean as possible. The minute we go into a store, let's say a month or 6 weeks later, invariably the store owner has not taken our advice and installed an app of that style. Just look at. I really enjoyed the conversation, but just to finish and just before we go. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see Forsberg+2 in the next 18 months, 12 months, or down the road?
That's a tough question, because, like I was saying, I don't think I can take on too many more apps just by myself. So I'd say it can go sort of two ways. One is I get some help and start doing more apps. And the other one is really just focusing on what I have and making sure that it's really well optimized for the future. I guess I'm leaning more towards the, optimize what I have, because I really like staying small and being a really, I guess, nimble and flexible with my time and things like that. That's a tough question. I don't have the proper answer just now.
You don't have to have any answer at all. It's good that it's so I think that's probably a good thing that you don't have the proper answer. Do you have any other ideas? I mean, as a developer of successful apps, and I'm not going to ask you for the ideas, but you guys must have 20 ideas floating around your head at any one time.
Sometimes, but I think it's a matter of focusing on the good ones too, right? Because you could be spitting out apps all day long. For the moment, I'm really focusing actually on orderly emails and actually moving that more to a marketing style app as well. And, I could have gone two ways with that. I could have become an email platform, so sending out all the marketing emails myself. But again, I want to stay small and not have the worry about, email infrastructure. So I'm going actually with creating MailChimp templates, so you can get matching, marketing emails for in the same style that you've generated your store's emails. So people can come in and pay a one-time fee and just get all the different email designs that they need to get everything set up, both on the transactional and the marketing side. So I'm really excited about getting that.
So your monthly newsletter or your abandoned cart out of MailChimp would match the orderly print fonts and style. Is that the idea?
Yeah, they'd have you design them basically in orderly email still, and then you'd take that design and send it through your existing MailChimp account. So just improving on the design experience and making it really simple, like we have the transactional, and it basically being the same theme, I guess you could say. So if you change your logo, it automatically fixes it for your transactional, and and your marketing emails.
Wow, very, very powerful. That's brilliant. Well, look,
I'm excited. Yeah,
Bjorn, it was a great conversation. I've no idea where we will meet next, but I'm sure it'll be a Shopify event in the next 6 or 9 months.
I look forward to it either way. It was a pleasure talking to you, Keith.
Thanks very much. Good talking to you.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to episode 2 of the Milk Bottle Labs e-commerce podcast with Bjorn Forsberg from FORSBERG+2. Until next time, take care.